All day. That's all we doing. Hashtagging restore the Snyderverse and giving reasons why we want the Snyderverse restored, and just giving different perspectives and points of view of it. And I'm just popping up on this stream. It's not going to be very long. The longest is going to be probably 3 minutes. But let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep it going. Restore the Snyderverse is trending right now on Twitter. As you notice, also I'm also pushing it on YouTube. I haven't been pushing it on Facebook yet, but I will get to that. I'll get to Facebook and the Facebook groups. But let's push it on every single platform: Twitch, Twitter, IG, book, every possible platform. We're shooting for 2 million tweets of Restore the Snyderverse um, within 24 hours. So that's our goal right now. Uh, we're sort of on the mark. We're at what, 200 and something tweets right now. So it's trending on Twitter. Obviously, it's not going to trend as much as, say, for example, something else, because one, it's trended before. Two, some of the same people keep on tweeting. So those are some of the things that you have to think about when you think about trending. But nonetheless, more people are speaking about it, more people are tweeting, and I'm also getting the opportunity to get in contact with as many people as possible in the the Snyder fans. So I'm looking forward to that, and even people who are not Snyder fans. It's just nice to get in contact with them. So this has been going pretty good today. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. Just want to emphasize on two different points in Zack Snyder's Justice League as I'm talking about restoring the Snyderverse and why this is important. First, the journey of the Snyder Cut accompanied a lot of really good, glorious things and beautiful stuff that we see from active fans. First thing that I want to talk about is the awareness of suicide prevention. For those of you, it's still COVID is still going on. It's still here. So a lot of you will still maybe struggling with depression or different things that are maybe bothering you, whether it's finances. I know a lot of people are down because of finances. Some people have problems with their health and well-being, their mental health. So some people are actually in a depression, and this is like a distraction for them. So I want you guys to know this, okay? That remember, there's always someone out there who can help you. So it's someone there that's going through the same thing you're going through. You are not alone. In respect to that, I want to just promote, because I can't donate to it, promote the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. If you are living in the United States right now, you should contact them. AFSP, AFSP National. You can easily Google it and go there, and you can get support and help. Those you who don't have mental problems, you can still go to AFSP National and get to understand how people can become suicidal, what situations, what are the symptoms, those kinds of things. So you can be educated on that site. You don't just have to donate. You can in various ways offer your assistance. Okay, so please go there. And the other thing I want to say before I get out of here, of course, is that accompanying the Snyder Cut, this journey, we also did a lot of remarkable things as fans. We went to remarkable lengths. We wrote letters. Again, all you have to do is go to this For the Snyder Cut site. For the Snyder Cut site, it's founded by Fiona Zhang, but it was continued on by other people. I think it was Release the Snyder Cut movement. They continued that site, and it's maintained by them. And I miss Fiona a lot. I miss It's Mo. These are some of the people who used to be on there. Jay Rohr's back because the Snyderverse is coming back, so he's back. But we really reap benefits off of the backs of some people who didn't really want any compliments or anything like that. Fiona Zhang, someone from China, someone who lives probably in a communist state. But humanity is humanity, and it's just so awesome to see these things. So I just wanted to talk about that aspect also, that it was an international thing, it was an international drive, and different people took over the mantle over time and sort of organized and got us orchestrated. Here's some of the things that happened that led to this, and this is why this is beautiful, and this is why the Restore the Snyder First movement needs to go back to these things, these fundamental things, because those are the things that got us here, and these are the things that will carry us forward, and these are the things we must not let go of. Okay, so let's go through them. So the first thing that we talked about there is that in the fourth Snyder Cut movement, this movement goes beyond just natural things. Wrote letters, executives and people who were in charge of Warner Brothers. We went global letters, so to show that we're not bots. We actually went out there in cosplay. It's Smo and company went in cosplay to Warner Brothers with a sign saying "Release the Snyder Cut." Then we went even further, and we had an airplane fly over Warner Brothers requesting that the Snyder Cut be released. And then from there, we went on to try and get wider awareness. It wasn't just on Twitter. We were hashtagging, but then we started going to sporting events. We had Super Bowl sessions where we advertised on there about the Snyder Cut. We had football sessions, the worldwide football soccer. I think it was inter-European tournament of some kind, where we had the signs flashing across the screens. We had billboards for Comic Con. We went to Comic Con and we educated people on the Snyder Cut, and we had little flyers and stuff. Made t-shirts. Initially, in the beginning, we didn't have any uniform t-shirts. We just kind of made t-shirts, and people wore them to give people awareness of release. We then went further than that, and we linked up with Ink to the People, and with that we actually made formalized t-shirts with Ink to the People. And Ink to the People is kind of the place which you can donate to American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. All of this awareness and all of this money that's raised, a lot of the money went to American Suicide Foundation for Prevention, which, by the way, is now somewhere around $250,000 we have raised, which is really great. And we're not trying to toot our horn. We're just saying these are good things that happen, and we want to get to 1 million. We want to get past 1 million. We want to get to 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, 10 million, 12 million, 20 million, 40 million, 50 million, 100 million. We want to go as far as we can go with this, because these are the things that count. These are real world things that it translates into. I don't know. In addition to that, we also had drives with Ben Affleck teaming up with us, teaming up with Subway and some other sandwich companies. We teamed up together and we had a drive to feed America. And that's something I really wish we could do some more of, because Feeding America does really great stuff feeding Americans. And that's a drive that we need to really pump more resources into, because people need food, people need a reason to live. So, suicide prevention, getting food on the table, those are very important things. And some people don't have any food on their table. So that's not a good thing. You know what I mean? And so, in addition to that, we also had the art part of it. Now, yes, Comic Con has art events and stuff, but we went further. We had art competitions amongst ourselves. Okay, and that's really great. And I hope you guys continue with the art competitions. I hope you continue with the various artistic ways to represent and bring out the art from yourself. So we had art competitions, literal art competitions, drawing that is. We had animation, we had little plays and skits, we had songs, we even funded some charity events in other countries where kids needed to get funded with these charity events, and we funded it. We also helped people who were missing. We able to help to locate people who were missing. We tried to encourage people who had different abuses and problems that they had in their lives, and bullying. So these are some of the things that we did in this movement that are really priceless. And yes, some of that happens in Comic Con as well, but it was like a little community where everybody could come together. Now, here's the thing that can bother this community, and we need to guard against. We need to guard against a community where people are pitting themselves against other people. And I'm seeing it happening inside of the community quite a lot. And I know it was happening before, but I'm just saying that it's something that we need to try to stay away from. We need to work together. I think of the Amazons, how they team up and they work together. Hold on a second, please, people. Pick a shades. I retweeted what I could. Yes, that's very good, man. That's very good. You just keep on pushing. Don't stop though. You know what I'm saying? Just keep on going. You don't have to do. You don't have to be doing it every second. To be honest with you, I fell asleep. I was doing other things during the day. But as soon as you get some time, remember it's numbers. It's not so much how many tweets you do, it's about numbers and getting other people excited to join in with us. The reason why we got 1.5 million at the time was because it was a hot topic one. People watched the movie, and a lot of people were stirred up. And it was not just the core Snyder Cut fans. When we look at our core base, which they're working overtime. The core base is cool, but you have to get beyond the core base. So once we crack outside of the core base of Snyder Cut fandom, I think we're really in for a great time. That's when it'll mushroom, and we don't know when that's going to happen, but whenever it happens, that would be a special moment. Whether it's on Twitter or YouTube or wherever it happens, Twitch. All right. So anyway, what I was saying is that these are the things that are important. Now, HBO Max teaming up with us through AT&T and allowing us to be creative, allowing this community, and there's a lot of beautiful things about this community. First of all, Pick a Shades, he knows making more videos and stuff, and it's so great, right? And a lot of people who would not usually be involved in these things are involved in them. Now, here's the thing: all about expression. We want to with HBO Max. This is a obviously a fandom that's committed to Zack Snyder and his movies. So, well, at least most of them, and so that wherever Zack Snyder goes, they're going to go. So here's the thing: this means that HBO Max teaming up with Zack Snyder would be a very good thing because Zack Snyder always pushes for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. He probably will never stop doing that. We need to also support Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck supports Feeding America. These are the things I want to be attached to. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I want to be attached to Feeding America. I want to be attached to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I want to be attached to foundations for suicide prevention globally. I want to be attached to feeding programs globally in respective countries. I think these are just fundamentally important things people need to exist. So this is beautiful, and this is what I want you guys to do. And I hope HBO Max aligns themselves with that kind of program, that kind of process. And Zach, being such a nice guy that he is, and as far as we can see, I would like to see that happen. Now, in terms of factions, some of you guys is talking about these highfalutin factions, and okay, they're not the common people like you and I, in the sense that some of them live in California, some of them live near to Zach, some of them have access to Zach, whatever. Some of them are scoopers. We got all kinds of people with all kinds of gifting and all kinds of abilities in this movement. And this is my thing. We should take advantage of those things because now we can have our own media. Now we can have our own people launching out and doing different things and building their businesses and helping them to do well and thrive on the internet, which is that's what we want to happen. We want creativity, freedom. So these people who are clashing with one another, please, guys. Yeah, okay, you didn't get acknowledged for something, and it's important to get acknowledged. If a guy apologizes to you for that, then just keep it moving. We need to work together. That's what Ben Affleck was saying. I worked hard to break us apart. Now we need to work together. We need to work together, guys. So this movement, each one of us has a role to play. Each one of us should do what we do. Each one of us shouldn't get so consumed with ourselves. We can make money in this thing. There's nothing wrong with making money. And it's nothing wrong with promoting each other in there and promoting different things that we do. It's a really important and very powerful vehicle for a lot of things that can happen in the future. But here's the thing. We can't think of any one of us as so important, not even Zack Snyder, that we must get acknowledgement for this or must get acknowledgement. I don't get acknowledgement for nothing. And so what? Who cares? Right? This is not why we do it. We can actually grow from and we can actually, reach other people. Okay? Whether it had a platform or not. So let's just get going with that and let's just keep our minds pure and clean when it comes to that. Let's not have any issues with people. If somebody's done you something wrong and they don't want to apologize, that's totally different. You may have to be careful around those people because a lot of people are opportunists out here. But at the end of the day, you guys keep your hearts clean, keep yourself sincere, be true to yourself, and be true about what you say. You can be wrong. Lots of us have been wrong, okay? Even the greatest pundits have been wrong about things. And that's okay. It's not, being wrong is not a bad thing. It's not a sin. Once you're not trying to exploit people, exploit other people by what you're doing. And people are going to say all kinds of evil things about you. I've seen it. I've seen it with Fiona. Fiona's not somebody, Fiona Zhang is not someone who does that. And clearly she didn't have time for that. So she's just, I haven't seen her on social media since she's seen Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I'm really hoping that I can see her some more. And I hope she sticks around. Because honestly, guys, it's all about people from so many different backgrounds and walks of life coming together because of a movie and the values that movie has. So this is a beautiful thing, and I hope that HBO Max takes advantage of it, because Zach's going across to Netflix, and that's a whole other story where he's across there right now, and he's doing pretty well. We want to see more of this content because I think this is something in Hollywood we don't see enough of. We see all kinds of things in Hollywood, and now people being even more creative with their superheroes and stuff. We have the boys that came after Zack Snyder stuff, and then we have Jupiter Ascending or something like that, and we're having a lot of other sort of superhero movies. Now, I'm not particularly attached to those movies, but I can always take a look at them and see if there's any value in them. Because again, once again, it's all about values, right? Zach carries a superhero through a crucible to bring out the values in that superhero. He wasn't just arbitrarily nihilistically, carrying these characters, making them evil or making them bad because they got corrupted. It was not that. It was never that. It was always a journey. Okay, even with Bruce Wayne, who was on the threshold of being corrupted and the threshold of being evil, Bruce Wayne was being carried through a crucible, and this is what you guys have to understand. It was a crucible he was carrying through. It's like a cross he's bearing, and he's trying to process it, and that's real. All of us here go through crucibles. We're not on the mountaintop all the time. Sometimes we down in the valley. Sometimes we down in the mud. You know what I mean? And that is a realistic depiction. But in so doing, like they say, how can you see courage if there's no fear around you? Maybe other people are fearful, but courage has to stand out. And the only way courage is going to stand out is if it's tested, right? So that's what Zack Snyder was doing. And we knew that. I mean, most of the people in the movement know that. But people outside of the movement, now, recently, just another thing I want to talk about, and I said I was going to cut this short, and it's already 17 minutes. So you see, I can talk a lot. And if you guys want to join in, if you want to leave some comments in the comment section, whatever you want to do, listen, you're free to do whatever you want to do. That's the key in this thing. It's not, we must never take away people's freedom to do different things. That's a beautiful thing. Now, anyway, that's besides the point. The point I was going to make is that I think I forgot my point. Just hold on a second. I'll tell you. It's just, I thought it was important. I sidetracked myself. Um, the, is that yeah. Okay. So one of the important things I was going to say was that in any movement or anything that you're doing, it's all about the qualities. It's all about qualities. If you look at these movies and these superheroes, Zach put up higher than the people and the iconography, the qualities. Now we know that, at least I haven't seen it, but in Captain America, the Winter Soldier and Falcon, you see that they were saying that Captain America doesn't do X, Y, and Z. Now it's pretty blatant what it was, and it's more obvious. It wasn't really, but it was still qualities that made the guy who was supposed to be Captain America not Captain America. And and so the Falcon ends up being Captain America now. But here's the thing. The thing is, that's kind of obvious, okay? But when talking about Superman or Batman or any hero for that matter, having them evolve and grow into the character is different, because now you're seeing how these characters became so resolute and resolved in the value systems they had. That's what Zach did. That's different to what other comic book movies out there are doing. All these comic book movies out there, all of them have not been doing necessarily in the way how Zach has done it, the hero's journey. And if you look at, for those of you who have seen, uh, what do you call it? Those of you who have seen Owls of Gahul, you will see that that's a hero's journey as well, where the character is being carried through a crucible. And that's why I'm so very interested in seeing how this hero's journey turns out, because Superman's still not finished with his journey, right? He's in the black suit. When his journey's over, he's going to be in the blue and red suit. And so we've seen pieces of Superman that look like Superman. And yes, he's got his confidence. He knows what it is now. He knows his purpose. He knows his vision and everything like that. But he's still not done, right? Because we know, at least in one alternate universe or alternate future, he's going to succumb to the anti-life equation. He's going to be tested with the ultimate test, which is Lewis Lane, which is his love of his life, is going to die. And he's going to turn. So the question is, he has to go through that crucible also, where he still needs to be resolved whether Lewis is alive or not to his purpose. And the key in this is that Superman is being tested every step of the way as to, is he really the blue Boy Scout? Is he really a guy who stands for principle? Well, this is the development and growth of that. Picochet says also that Batman manga review will be coming out tomorrow. Okay, man, I'm here to support you 100% and get you out there, brother. Yes. Panther God. Panther God. I don't know who Panther God is. You've been on this channel before. He said Snyder failed with Superman story wise. Period. No, okay. Alza Gahul is a Hollywood MK Ultra parable. Okay. I'm thinking Autumn was targeted. Die to Snyder exposing child trafficking in Sucker Punch, Watchmen, and BVS. Okay. These are somewhat alternate views, which you're entitled to, my friend. So as I said before, that's the beauty of what have gone through as the Snyder Cut family, in the sense that we have been able to actually go through that evolution as a group, as a movement. And we're not perfect. We have infighting. We have all kinds of problems inside of us. Sometimes we even go to the dark side, like Batman. We almost tip over to the dark side. And what you find is that that journey is a real organic one that human beings contemplate and fight with. You know, when you're not listening to other people and you're just dogma into your views, it's because you're self-righteous. You think that what you're doing is right. And that reminds me of Batman and BVS. He thought he was doing the right thing when he was doing the absolute wrong thing, and he couldn't see that he was tumbling down that well of despair and disaster into the darkness, the complete darkness, and becoming evil. He couldn't see that, right? And what it took for him to snap out was the realization of what he was about to do, because Superman, the object of his hate, actually proved to be something that it was not. And I think that's just one of the most truest, most honest, most realistic things, because all of us have been dead wrong about something. But because of our ego and our self righteousness, we have continued to tumble down the path of destructive behavior, where we're attacking something which doesn't deserve our attack, right? And some of us are aware of it, and some of us are not aware of it. Why are we filled with hate and rage? Because we're intimidated. We feel that this thing is something that we cannot control, that we have no control over. And we find that in the world today. I've had the same thing. I'm sure it's a human thing. And the point is, that's Batman's journey. With Superman's journey has not been that, right? Superman doesn't really bear malice and hate towards anyone. And in his journey, he's the target of hate, right? He's the target of Lex Luthor. He's the target of Batman, right? And so this ends up being his demise, where he dies sacrificing his life for the human race, but also at the extended hand of Lex Luthor, who kills him through Doomsday, right? Because Lex Luthor hates him. And the truth be told, that is real. That is real. I can give you a perfect example of this very easily. Martin Luther King Jr. murdered, okay, by people who hated him. Okay, I can give you another one. I can give you several. JFK murdered by people who felt he could not be controlled and they needed to rein him in, and they said, we're going to kill him. Jesus Christ, all right, he can be controlled by the leaders of his church. As such, they thought they needed to rein him in, they needed to kill him, and they conspired to kill him. So, what I'm saying to you is that's real. And you don't see that every day in a superhero movie. Superhero movies don't do that kind of stuff. That's why I value BVS. That's why I value the Snyder Cut. That's why I value Man of Steel. Man of Steel is more real to me than any other stupid superhero movie I've ever seen. It's very real. The journey of the hero is never, I don't care what anybody says, an easy journey. In fact, sometimes people don't even know who the hero of the story is. Because heroes, real heroes, not the ones that get compliments, real heroes, real trailblazers don't get complimented for what they do. They call them trailblazers. It's several years after the fact they get complimented. Zach's walked that road. I'm sure some of you out here have walked that road. Some of you have not. Because you have to step out and expose yourself for who you really are. Be transparent. And that's going to rub other people the wrong way because they're hiding in the shadows and wheeling and dealing, and you're exposing by standing out. That's Lex Luthor's issue with Superman. That he's actually a good guy. He's really a good guy trying to do the right thing. He hated that. He believed you have ultimate power, use it, deal it, wheel it in a corrupt way. He did not believe that anyone could make it to the top without wheeling and dealing. Now, think about what has happened in Warner Brothers recently. Think about what Ray Fisher said. Think about what happened to Zack Snyder. Think about what happened to a lot of minority people in Warner Brothers of recent times. And you see the exact same sort of situations playing out that you saw in BVS. And for those of you who don't like hearing this, that is what makes BVS real. But some people still rate BVS above Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I don't rate it above Zack Snyder's Justice League because I understand Zack Snyder's Justice League is not only emotive, it reminds me a lot of Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman, but it's just so much more emotive. I mean, I cried several times in that movie. And Patty Jenkins' movie, I cried too. Don't get me wrong, it moved me. But this movie was so emotive because it was coming from a place of authenticity and growth. Because of the sacrifice paid by Superman, ultimately, the second movie birthed all of this life and growth and redemption. And not only redemption, but for some people, it was the first shot at real living for them, to be themselves and to exist as themselves. You know, Barry Allen always had the right plan for saving his father. Always. He just questioned it because his father continuously put in front of his face him questioning, challenging him. Oh, no, no, no. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to, after law school, help me and free me from my prison. His father was the thing that spurred him forward, that created that test, that created that crucible he needed to go through. Because he didn't know how he was going to do it. But all he needed was the confidence to stay the line. That's Barry's story. When it comes to Victor's story, his story is completely different. He had a 180-degree turn, right? For 2 straight years or a year and a half, he'd been in a depression. because his life was gone. The life he knew was gone. And with it, the only confidant he had in his life and person who showed their support in his life, his mother. Listen, man, I've lost my mother. I don't know about you guys. I lost my mother, and it hurt more than losing your father. A mother's always there for you. She'll ride and die with you. Most mothers. I don't know how motherhood is now, but the connection between your mother is something totally different. It's just as a son, beloved mother. That's of course Silent Stone's perspective, but nonetheless, he lost his mother, so he's mourning the death of his mother. He's mourning the death of his life, the life he knew. He's dead, and then on top of that, he's this thing. He's this thing. Oh my God. Can you handle that? Could any of us handle that? Put yourself in that situation. What is he? What the hell is he? He says he's a monster. He thinks he's a monster. Depression. Been in a room for years. Depression. Some people say differently abled. I don't know what you call that because do you call that differently abled? What the hell is he? How many nights has he suffered? Because certain things just don't mesh together the same way. Who knows what kinds of suffering and pain he has internally? We don't know. Because he is a Frankenstein. They patched him together. His father patched him together with technology that's apocalyptic. We don't know if he suffers pain. We don't know what he suffers. Nobody thinks about that. You know, you know, I know this sounds terrible, but it would be nice to make a much longer movie humanizing this guy to the nth degree of what Cyborg went through in those 2 years. It's not going to be exactly the most enjoyable movie, but it definitely would be a movie that would make people think even more about what this guy endured. Okay, because his mind doesn't work the same way. It's a lot of things we take for granted. He doesn't move the same way. Yes, you have abilities. Think about it this way. I in 2017, I struggled because I had serious stomach problems. Okay, I was in pain all the time. Okay, I was functional, but I was in pain all the time. Okay, and what I did was I would watch movies or I'd create films or I'd create music. I took my mind off of it because I was in pain. I am sure there's some of you out there who can completely identify with me right now. Now, imagine you're not only in pain, but the electronic side of you is still grappling with the organic side of you. That conflict and how those synapses and stuff are firing. Because remember, this is experimental. It don't have to perfectly work. And clearly it didn't perfectly work because we see his automated system, his defense system, kicking the gear without his cognitive consent. And he cannot override it. What happens when your hand's not going where you wanted to go? And your foot's not going where you wanted to go? It's doing whatever it wants to do. What happens then? How does this guy live this torturous life? Why is he in a room all the time? Because he's afraid to move around. Not just because everybody's going to look at him a certain way, but he's not perfectly in control of all his functions. And life is totally different. He doesn't pee. Yeah, he eats, but it's just like one of these crazy things when you think about what this guy actually went through. it's kind of a nightmare. It's kind of like a living hell. If you really break that shit down, it's not that there's nothing. Yes, you got gifts, but he's cursed at the same time. And what is he? What the hell is he? So, I mean, it's just a lot of things that a lot of people. And if you guys have ever read a Cyborg comic, I would advise you to go read the 2015 2016 run. You'll get an idea of what I mean. It's a lot much more layered run of Cyborg, serious layered run of Cyborg. It's what makes me love Cyborg. Is one of my favorite characters, right? But I'm just saying this to say to you guys that the hero journey of Barry is not exactly the same as the hero journey of Cyborg. Cyborg has lost a lot. Cyborg is depressed. It's not just a depressed teen, any depressed person. If you've lost your legs, your arms, he's lost his legs and arms. He's gotten these cybernetic legs and arms that kind of work how he wants them to. Kind of. Nobody thinks about this. Oh, they just think he just walked off after he got his legs and arms back. He just walked off the counter and that was it. Whoever does that, whoever when they get cybernetics, just walks off and it's fine, perfectly fine, perfect with cybernetic. Come on, man. Let's be real. Realism. And that's what I like about Zack Snyder's movies. As DCEU movies, to be specific. I'm not talking about just any movie, right? As DCEU movies involve hyperrealism. Watchmen, not so much. I mean, it's kind of. But they're definitely superpowered than Watchmen. But not so much. It's more fantastical. But when you look at, not to say that, I mean, they're superpowered, but there's certain things that. But when you look at like the DCEU film, DCEU films, they're very, very grounded. And let's think about the other journeys. We had the journey of Aquaman. And his journey is much more nuanced, actually, if you really pay attention, because it's not just about a guy who does not want to embrace the Atlantean side of himself and you know deal with the situation. No, there's a little bit of more nuance to that if you pay attention, right? It's a guy who's compassionate and he cares about people and he continues to go from place to place helping people. Yeah, it's nuanced. But the places he goes to are places other people can't reach. In other words, he's looking for the outcast like himself. He's looking for the downtrodden like himself to help them, to soothe the fact that he feels like he's an outsider. So if you really look at that journey, it's really, there's a lot more going on in there with Aquaman. And as an outside observer, you see him in the group, particularly, making certain critical comments, right? You heard him how he empathized with Cyborg. He empathized with him. When you look again, you see him again, and he's talking about the bad choices he thinks the League has had that has cost Cyborg his father's life. You see him question bringing back Superman because he believes that there's some variables in there that are dangerous to the rest of the world. It's not just about how well we can equip with this weapon. You know, lots of people go to war. Lots of people go to war only thinking about what they could do to their opposition and not thinking about how it affects their own families, their communities, the the, the people who are going to war for them, and the world in general. Aquaman is a thoughtful guy who's thinking about those things continuously. He's the guy pushing back on Batman, on Bruce. He's the one pushing back in that whole thing. So there's that continuous desire. He has all the traits that makes him someone he's always going to consider the people who are not being considered, the, the people who are not particularly in the target range. He's going to consider collateral damage. Now we know that man crossed paths with Superman, right? Shout out to Leroy Kong, man. How you doing, bro? Zack Snyder's got all the DC characters right. I said screw WB and all the Snyder haters. I didn't know, Leroy, that you had a YouTube channel. I just saw it. It's really cool. That's really awesome, man. We gotta get your subscribers up, man. Gotta get your subscribers up. You and Pick Shades. You guys put out some good stuff. You're like a hype man. You put on positive. You know you do a lot of bodybuilding. Yeah, the women with muscle and stuff. You seem to like them. Um, in short, what I'm saying is that it's more to these characters, and to see them with their gifts, what we call gifts, see them go through their processing to get to where we get at the end, where we're hearing Aquaman say, "My man," it means something. It's not just my man for my man cool sake. No, he was looking out for Cyborg, and he sees Cyborg come up trumps. Cyborg catches him, as he's falling to his death, by the way. A lot of you guys didn't realize that. But Aquaman was falling to his death after he took out one or two of those parademons. He was falling to his death. It's Cyborg that caught him and sent him threw him towards another uh, parademon so he could do his thing. And he said, "My man," because Cyborg's got that heart and he's got that desire, in spite of the enormous challenge put in front of him, to step up to the plate and do what he needs to do. So that's where that "my man" is coming from. It's not coming from. It's not just a "oh man, I'm a super bro." No, no, no. It's coming from his heart, and there's a lot of heart in this movie, obviously, and that's the stuff that for me, that's what makes these movies worthwhile. That's why we could talk about AFSP and not getting people to die. That's why we could talk about feeding America. That's why we could talk about things that have heart in it and we could care about it, because the journey was that. That's why some of you guys cried when you saw the trailer of Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it was more than just a movie for you. It was about the journey, the hero's journey. Let's not forget that. As we do hashtag restore the Snyderverse, yeah, it's about getting movies we want, but it's also the journey. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. And help as many people along the way as you can. Try not to hurt other people. Try not to offend other people. It's hard, I know. But think of Superman. Think of Zack Snyder. These are practical people you can think of. The mythical Superman, and how he tries not to hurt people. He tries to save people. Think of Zack. Zack's not trying to hurt anybody. Have you ever heard Zack actually attack any person in particular? No. Yes, we need to tell the truth, but at the same time, we're not trying to attack people. That's not the goal. All right? So, guys, game plan on. I just thought I'd share this video with you guys right now. It's very nice to see you guys. Share the video if you want to. If you don't want to share it, don't share it. I don't care. At the end of the day, I knew I was going to say this anyway, so we might as well just get it out of the way. I love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. You guys have done some really insane things. I've seen you guys do some insane things. Literally, it's insane. You guys like Zack Snyder. Y'all both insane. You guys have put up billboards. You guys have put things on trucks. You guys have flown planes. It shows what you can do when you're motivated to do it. You guys can do the impossible. You can. The Snyder Cut was never supposed to happen, and you did it. You did it. Take the win. And now you guys got some allies right now in powerful places who can make this happen even further, you know? And now you guys have gotten the average person out there to know about the Snyder Cut, to know about Zack Snyder's Justice League. So now it's easier to get them on board. And I've even seen Cinema Blend, the lady who works with the guy from Cinema Blend. I forgot what his name is. Yeah, he was selling his book, right? But she's really involved in it right now. I just saw her tweet just recently there, and she was tweeting about how she wants to see the Snyderverse continue, and then she put restore the Snyderverse underneath. She's into it, and I'm just saying, this journey has pulled a lot of people to want to join the movement to do good, though, not to do evil, not to attack each other, not to be savage with each other. We're all on the same team here. We want the same thing. It's not just about seeing movies now, it must be transformative. We must change as people. And if we change for the better, then this movement was worth it. One guy, uh, yeah, Leroy Kong, yes, the Warner Brothers pictures, they are kidding themselves. They're trying to be like Marvel. I've said this a long time ago. I was right about it, which is that James Wan's Aquaman was Marvelish, and they were trying to go in the Marvel direction. I guess after Wonder Woman was a success, and people compared it to a Marvel movie, which I didn't see it as a Marvel movie, but whatever. They thought they could go that direction, and that's the wrong direction for Warner Brothers. I tried to explain it to them that Warner Brothers has always been grounded, realistic, and they always gave a take on movies which allowed people to have an alternative to what a Marvel movie may have. That's where they shun the best. Their highest grossing movies are The Dark Knight, Batman v Superman, Aquaman, and Joker. Of all those movies, the lightest of them is Aquaman. It's the only light movie in the whole set. And the only reason Aquaman was successful because the Snyder Cut members supported Aquaman and James Wan. And even Aquaman was grounded in reality. DC is always better than Marvel. Wow, Leroy, coming from you, love both Marvel and DC. That's interesting. That's really interesting. But I would say this: I I am, of course, I gravitate towards more realistic takes and grounded takes in movies because I can take those things and use it in my life. And I've been through some stuff. So I'm not really interested in going into a cinema just to laugh and maybe get some kind of superficial uh, thing. I like to have the experience where I actually journey in that experience, come out of that experience, and I say, oh, yes, I've been on a journey, right? So one guy was explaining to me that his kid's not into the ultra serious movies, right? So like Lord of the Rings and superhero movies, and even superhero films, to be honest with you, and superhero stuff. The younger generations, the really younger generations today, really don't know anything about that, right? So the point, anyway, is that grounded. That's what Warner Brothers does best. They do best. Their best pictures, their best money making pictures have been realistic, grounded films. Realistic, jokey films, they've always flopped. Now, Superman Returns, the reason why Superman Returns didn't do as well was because Superman Returns, and Bryan Singer's excellent director, by the way, excellent X-Men series and all that, excellent director. Superman Returns tried to capture something that was obsolete now, Christopher Reeve's Superman. And to this day, Warner Bros. Will not let go of that. All right. They constantly think that on the big screen, I mean, on television, you can do whatever you want. Okay. But on the big screen, they think that public is always going to be sold on a Christopher Reeve's Superman. And Christopher Reeve's Superman is great. It's great. It's great. I love Christopher Reeves. It's great. Okay. There's a beautiful magic to Christopher Reeve's Superman. Let's not kid ourselves. But it's not right now translatable to the crop of people who want to go see movies. It doesn't have that kind of impact. And no, try as much as you may, Brandon Routh, hell of an actor and everything, and they tried to stay true to that form of Superman. Didn't work. That's why Man of Steel worked. Man of Steel worked because the character Henry Cavill has all the attributes of Superman and of a Christopher Reeve Superman, but they modernized him to allow for relatability and they made the story deeper, which is something that Warner Brothers does. They have deep characters, they go deep into the character's development. That's what that's what Christopher Nolan did with Batman. He went deep into the character's development, you know, with Henry Cavill, deep into the character's development, and from that, and it's revolutionized superhero movies, right? The Man of Steel revolutionized superhero movies because now it's not just about flawed characters and whatever Marvel's doing, but it's now something where people could go in a deep dive into the character and see, oh, wait, a hero can make mistakes. A hero can fall. Even these elevated, international heroes like Superman could at sometimes doubt himself, right? So that sort of story and the development of Superman and the fact that he was alien and all of this stuff, that he had to really acclimatize to a world and that he had to be, he did things which allowed him not to necessarily be socially um, um, just respected but feared. These sort of things led to real world issues that we deal with Superman. It wasn't just this fantasy thing where the world totally accepts Superman and that's it. Because nobody wants that anymore. So, in a real world where we have real world problems, that's the Superman that worked. Yeah, and once that got that Superman to work, in spite of Hollywood and the engines in Hollywood trying to sabotage that, in spite of all of that, Zach got it to work. And that is what led on to Batman v Superman. Okay? So ultimately, in the end, I'm not trying to rehash a whole set of things because that's what I'm doing. I didn't know I was going to go to almost an hour here with you guys. But Restore the Snyderverse symbolizes and builds on Release the Snyder Cut. It builds on that. And we knew, a lot of us knew in the Snyder Cut verse that that was going to lead to Restore the Snyderverse. And I hear different people say, well, it's not really restored because it never really went away because the Flash movie is going to be in the Snyderverse and Wonder Woman 84 was in the Snyderverse and Shazam was in the Snyderverse. Listen, I'm not saying that those characters weren't first started by Zack Snyder, in other words, meaning and they don't call back some to some degree to Zack Snyder, but you can't call I would not call Aquaman and company the Snyderverse. I just won't. Okay, I believe that the Snyderverse is Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. Suicide Squad is in the Snyderverse, even though it's not the version that David Ayer did. Let me explain. Studio interfered with clearly Suicide Squad. Okay, clearly interfered with it. But we could still say it's in the Snyderverse, not only because of continuity, but also because Zack Snyder's character, The Flash, which Zack directed, was in it. What I would say is it's not the proper version of Suicide Squad. It's been cut, rearranged, truncated, but it is something, all of it is what David Ayer shot and directed. Nobody else tampered with that. Okay? In terms of directing. It doesn't mean it's David Ayer's film. That's not David Ayer's vision. Okay. Then we had Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was in the Snyderverse. And it was continuous with Bruce Wayne giving Wonder Woman this picture, and she goes behind the story behind the picture, right? Patty Jenkins did excellent job in that. Okay. The action, like I said before, was on point. That's what allowed Wonder Woman the believability. If you're not if you're not doing your action right, people are going to laugh like I did in the cinema with Wonder Woman 84. I was chuckling because I was like, okay, well, all right, because believability went out the window. It's hard to suspend your belief when you see somebody. Wonder Woman threw a guy across the. He did not. He went. Not even a bullet does that. He went straight across the room. What I mean by that is, like, he went in a straight line backwards. That just defies all physics. It defies all physics. When you throw something, it goes, if you throw it with an arc, that is, it goes up in the air. There's something called a parabola. Okay. So if you throw a ball, the reason why it touches the ground is because it initially, wherever you throw it, let's say you throw it level, it will drop, it'll fall, it'll form a parabola, right? Anybody who knows anything about anything that they've ever done in their life knows this, okay? If you throw something up in the air, it's going to come back down to the ground because of gravity. There was no gravity. Apparently, the guy was just floating through space. That shit is just so it had me all cracking up because that's just not realistic. Period. That's just not realistic. Like you gotta have some kind of degree of realism somewhere in the movie. You know what I mean? Did the guy get wings and just suddenly start to fly? I mean, come on now. So Wonder Woman really 84, the action just completely let the movie down. That's the problem. It wasn't very consistent. There were certain times when there was consistency, but there was other times we just I was like, God damn, what the hell is that? The story wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad story. The plot and story wasn't bad. Yeah, of course, you had to suspend belief for story. That's we knew that from the first Wonder Woman movie, right? Even though that one was much more grounded and much more um, because again that the action it was a lot more grounded than Wonder Woman 84. So the point is that's my point. Wonder Woman 84 makes my point. Grounded. You have to ground these characters in a certain reality, you know, unless you have a completely different world, a other world where the laws of how that world is conducted is different and separate. Then you could do whatever you want. That's what Guardians of the Galaxy gets away with because, and they were still grounded in a reality. They got away with it because they were in intergalactic something. So now all of a sudden, there are certain rules with physics and stuff, but then they have a separate bubble or environment where the physics and stuff changes, and that's the fun. So Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, they had their own reality so that they were able to change the physics of the situation. But if you and they still kept to the physics of the situation when they were in a reality like ours. And that's the key. So even Marvel does it, right? Even with their most zany movie, they keep within the physics of their reality. And I just think that Warner Brothers needs to stick with what got them their most success. And the sad thing about this is this. Okay, Christopher Nolan, they went with Christopher Nolan. I guess it was different management at the time. Zack Snyder, they double crossed him. James Wan, they double crossed him. I maintain that. And when you look at uh, when you look at um Todd Phillips, they double crossed him, right? And the most successful movies they've had, movies that they have sabotaged or double crossed. And these are great movies. They just never gave the movies the chance to breathe, the chance to be what they were supposed to be what the directors pitched to them. Okay, and they get great directors. Rick Fumaya, dope. Dope is multiple meaning. Dope as in real dope, dope as in cool. You know what I mean? The dope is, and it's funny and everything. It's funny, it's smart, it's everything. And that for me would have been a great Flash movie because Flash is funny, but he's smart, as was conveyed in the Snyder Cut. So, I mean, that's the problem with. uh, studios and executives that don't know anything about movie production and they've never directed a movie, telling a director what he needs to do. Okay, so the director pitched something to you. Why are you giving him caveats after he's pitched something to you? If you agree and you took his pitch, why are you trying to change up things after he's pitched what he's pitched? Leroy Kong says, Henry Cavill is the Superman. I do agree with you. Yes, he is. No doubt about it. He exemplifies those values. Leroy Kong says Ben Affleck is the Batman. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And don't sleep on Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's going to make an excellent Batman. Um, so don't sleep on him. It's just that, like I said before, I know Matt Reeves is a very good director, so he's going to do a very good movie. Once Warner Brothers doesn't tamper with his movie, James Gunn has proven that he's good at movies as well, doing movies. He's never dropped the ball on anything. And James Wan, mostly, again, excellent director. These are excellent directors. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Zack Snyder is the greatest be all end of everything. He's the greatest director. I just hear people saying that, and it's cool. I get you, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying there are other great directors out there. I'm just saying he's definitely a great director, and what he does really well, he does really well. And but with respect to Matt Reeves, my thing was how they sort of sabotaged Ben Affleck's movie, and Jeff Johns brought in Matt Reeves. I didn't like the way how it was done. That's all. But I know Matt Reeves is going to put out a good film. I'm not super excited about it. Tommy Temper. What's up, my dude? Tommy Temper in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna go across the boxing sometime, bro. But right now, I'm focused on restoring the Snyderverse. You know that I send you stuff. Um, it's that Matt Reeves is gonna put out a good movie. I think. I DM'd you. Talk later. Okay, man. Okay. Uh, Lyric Kong says the Flash movie will fail. I hope not. I don't want it to fail. I don't want it to fail. You know, uh, if they can get their stuff in order and get things together, good for them. You know what I'm saying? But that's not my focus. That my focus is the Snyderverse. The only thing, like I said before, that really gets me, and I know is something that the executives can't just tamper with, is Black Adam. I'm pretty sure about that. And that's coming out next year. I can't wait. I can't wait for Black Adam. I really can't wait for it. That's a movie that I know Dwayne the Rock Johnson is going to put his heart and soul into. I mean, he's passionate about Black Adam, and I know it's going to be done right. And I know Dwayne the Rock Johnson is not going to do Black Adam with anybody else but Henry Cavill. Make sure that Zack Snyder's characters are in his Black Adam movie. And I would not be surprised. He would even try to get Zack Snyder's stunt people and so on, because the camera angles, man. Come on, man. The camera angles of Zack gives you some stuff. He come with some angles, man. Come on. Did you see that Flash run? When he's running into the future, he's running into his past, and the effects, and come on, man. Zach is the man when it comes to action. The way how he shoots it, the angles. Come on, man, the stunt team. You know what I'm saying? He just got it down pat, and he can get the emotional aspect of it, everything, without even saying a word. Come on, man. Y'all gotta hand it up for Zach, man. Zach know how to do a scene, a nonverbal scene particularly, and get so much more things that words cannot say. He's able to bring out. Words can say, but it's just voluminous. It'll be like a voluminous essay to be able to say what is actually you're seeing. Come on, man. Zach do action like nobody else. Like nobody else. You remember the death of Martha Wayne? She hits the ground. You see like almost like petals, droplets of blood on her cheek. And what does he zoom into? Her eyeball. So you can see it dilate as her life is draining from her. Come on, man. And then the pearl falls through the gutter right there. Come on, man. Come on, man. You don't see directors doing that every day. You don't see that in a Marvel flick. You'll never see it in a Marvel flick. You've never seen it in a Marvel flick, have you? It's poetic. Shit, you know this guy, he studied Greek and all of that and history and mythology. And you know his paintings. Come on, man. His paintings mirror the Christian paintings, the crystal murals. Come on, man. Like, man, come on, man. Like seriously, man. Come on, man. They say he paints a perfect picture. They say Thor Ragnarok paint a perfect picture with Valkyrie, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but the significance of it is what? When we talk about Zack Snyder and painting a perfect picture, the picture has significance. He's not just pulling it off of a mural because he likes the murals. He's pulling it off the mural because he's saying something in his pictures. Zack talk in his pictures. He talk in his pictures, man. He's saying something in his pictures. Every movement. I heard Ray Fisher say how sometimes Ray, if Silas Stone, for instance, is talking to Victor Stone, right? And Silas Stone was talking to Victor about making something. Victor's eye, the eye that he turns to him, the cybernetic eye, which would be his left eye, right? He turns the cybernetic eye to Silas, indicating that it is the cybernetic side of him that is listening to Silas. When Silas is talking to him as a father, he turns his human eye to Silas. He's now listening to him as a son, as a human. Freaking I, freaking I, freaking I. Come on now. Nonverbal gestures, speaking volumes subliminally and otherwise. Y'all ain't ready for Zack Snyder. Y'all ain't ready for Zack Snyder. He be saying all kinds of things. He be talking to you. Pictures. And I'm going to break this down because a lot of y'all don't understand some things. So I'm going to break this down for you. Hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics say more than a whole paragraph of words. That's how the Egyptians communicated. Hieroglyphics. Because the details are in pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Zack take time with every single shot to detail every single shot. Somebody that meticulous is sending particularly very specific messages to people. And if he was for evil, man, he'd be dangerous. But he's doing it for good. See what Leroy Conger had to say. Out of here, though, guys. The Hamada-verse will not work, says Leroy Kong. You know, man, I'm going to put it to you this way. Because you just dropping bombs. I'm not against Walter Hamada wanting to put forth his vision of what he wants for a universe. Because he's the head of DC Films, right? My thing is, why is he trying to block on another network the Snyderverse from happening? HBO Max, why can't we have the Snyderverse? If you want to do your universe, do your universe. Nobody's going to stop, because he feels the Snyderverse is a threat to his universe. And he wants to have no competition, so he wants to have a fresh, clean slate to launch his universe. But you got the CW right there. Why is it you trying to squeeze Zack out of the equation? You got the CW right there. And from what I see, the Hamada-verse is just a CW brought to movies. It's just a CW verse. That's what he brought in to do. The CW verse. Supposedly cost effective because it'd be lower budget. That's what he's brought in to do. Right? That's what Walter Hamada's brought in to do. Okay. Me personally, do your thing. I'm just saying, don't mess with the fans wanting a Snyderverse. And if you think it's going to be costing too much money for what does that matter to you? You're not putting up the money. It's going to be AT&T putting up the money first of all. But second of all, just because you're the head of DC Film, so you get to approve a DC film, doesn't mean that you need to be like that. Trying to squeeze out a director from being in your universe because you feel he has a following that will detract from what you're doing. Okay? But I personally think that Snyderverse is just going to help Walter Hamada. So like Leroy Kong says, you got it. You need the Snyderverse. You need Zack Snyder's movies and affiliate spin-off movies that he's making because that is what the Flash movie is in problems. But the Flash was, I mean, what Zack Snyder put with the Flash in there was a great promotion for the Flash movie. And so I hope the Flash movie does well. I hope maybe I mean I can't really say because it's like I can't really say anything, I just can't. But hopefully the Flash movie does well. I don't know. I mean, I'm not interested in it, but nonetheless, I mean, I wish it all the best. Pick a shades. The difference between dreams and fantasies is that dreams can come true if you balance them with the truth and ideals of the world you live in. Exactly, 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 my brother. Exactly. 100%. Lyric Count says Zack Snyder and Bruce Timm should run DC films. Bruce Timm? Bruce Timm? Why Bruce Timm? If you're gonna do Bruce Timm, why not Jay Oliver? He do movies. Bruce Timm didn't do movies. He did television series. Like you want somebody at least who do movies or did comic books. Like I think Jim Lee would be good. Jay Oliver would be great. I mean, Jay Oliver's never done live action, but nonetheless, Jay Oliver's been doing storyboarding for like God knows how long, and he did stuff for Zack Snyder's movies. Jay Oliver would be perfect. Like you want somebody who runs DC films, you want somebody who's successful. Jim Lee's been successful. Jay Oliver's been successful. You could have Jim Lee and Jay Oliver running. But Jay Oliver doesn't really have a lot of experience with live action. So I would, but Jay's a cool dude, and he's open to different ideas, and he's a hardworking guy. I would love to see Jay run DC films, or Jim Lee, James Lee. Either one of those two guys, because they're open minded. They embrace everybody. So we could have the Snyderverse, but not just the Snyderverse. We don't need just the Snyderverse. We could have other verses, right? So that's why I said the Hamadaverse. I'm not against the Hamadaverse. Have your Hamadaverse. You know what I'm saying? Have your Hamadaverse and wish you the best. Give us the Snyderverse. Who knows? It may cross over. Some of your stuff might cross over with the Snyderverse. Some of this stuff in the Snyderverse will cross over with the Hamadaverse. We're not saying it's exclusive. Zach's not an exclusive guy. Zach's one of the most easiest to work with guys ever because he allows actors to do what they want and try different things. He'll allow a guy from another universe, a director with a totally different take to him, to do what they wanted to do. Wonder Woman's a perfect example of that. Whereas Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman goes ah, and she screams ah, and all that. In Wonder Woman, she wasn't screaming, yelling, and bawling. Patty had a different perspective, a different view of the thing, and that's great. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's like Zach lives and lets live. Whatever Patty want to do Patty. Once you just keep it in the lines of what Wonder Woman is, do what you want to do. You're free to do what you want to do. We just want some connective tissue in there. right? And similarly with because Zach had his own idea of what the Wonder Woman movie would have been, right? Which is totally different movie in many respects, right? Um, and Patty and another guy who wrote the kind of mermaid like version, um, Zach said, like, cool, man. Actually, let's go with that. And so what I'm saying is Zach's that kind of dude. Jim Lee's that kind of dude. Jim Lee defended us, you know. Uh, James Gunn is that kind of dude. You know, these guys, and James Gunn is from Marvel, and I love James Gunn because I have issues with him with Jared Leto, but other than that, I love James Gunn. James Gunn is a guy who I personally think he gets it. He gets fandom. He really does, and I appreciate him for that. And of course, he did. Of course, he did Brightburn. He produced Brightburn. It's a tribute to Man of Steel, and it's showing you how deadly Superman could be, right? And I love that it's a grounded movie as well, and it's kind of like a horror thriller. It's grounded, and I love that. So my point anyway is, and it wasn't a high budget movie; it was a low budget movie, and it made its money back. I think it didn't make a whole set of money, but it made its money back. My point anyway is this: that these kinds of people are the people you want. You don't want people who are trying to secure their position and fight for power and all this shit. No, you want people who are in responsible positions trying to do the best for the company and for everybody else. They're not thinking about themselves, they're thinking about themselves and everyone else. Anyways, people, that's what I got for you guys right now. I'm going to get out of here, but let me see if I addressed all your questions. Yes, Tommy Temper smiling, and then he said, "I didn't even talk to you later." So I got through all your questions. I hope you guys have a great time. Restore the Snyderverse, guys. Keep the hashtags going. Let's keep the heat on. Let's see if we can get to 2 million. 24 hours from now would be like sometime tomorrow. Sometime tomorrow sometime tomorrow. This little push should be over. So let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna catch you guys later. I am Christ, I am disciple. The only thing I have not done is giving you guys a piece of scripture. So let me give you a piece of scripture for you guys. Hot diggity dang. This one come from this one comes from the book of First Corinthians chapter 13. It's talking about love, and it says, "Love is patient. Love is kind." We need more patience and kindness with each other. Please, guys. And let's have some patience with HBO Max as well and AT&T. I'm going to catch you guys later. I am out. Have a blessed one and a blessed week.